So now I make you the host. Okay. Okay. So it's being recorded now. And later we will then download the recording and put on our YouTube page, because there's no direct broadcast of side events now possible.
Oh, now it's better. Yeah, so welcome everyone for our great side event here. My name is Alexey Shadrin, and I'm with my own company called Evercity, where we develop digital infrastructure for climate finance to accelerate it in developing countries. And also I represent an organization called the Climate Chain Coalition, which was actually launched in 2017 here in Bonn during one of the climate conferences. And it was co-established by the UNFCCC Secretariat. And also some of the early members of the digital innovation community who worked on their innovation use cases for climate and sustainability. So now the organization has grown, and we have more than 400 members from more than 60 countries from around the globe, which are united by the passion, by the mission to create digital tools and innovations to help us fight climate change and attain the sustainable development goals. So I'm also greeting you on behalf of a gentleman that you might all know, Miroslav Polzer, who is unfortunately not here today, but he's there. Hello, Miroslav. You want to say a few words
Hello.
to the esteemed audience?
Yes, I'll be happy to do so.
Oh yeah, we can hear you. Please go on.
Okay. Yeah, a warm greeting from my side. I'm now on the train back to Klagenfurt because of urgent obligations tomorrow. But it's a great pleasure to be the co-hosting today's event, and thanks to Alexey Shadrin for being co-organizer of the side event and also for leading the moderation of the event. I would like to say a few words about the topic, why we have chosen the side event topic: digital tools, finance, edutainment, and culture for all of society action for climate empowerment. It is because we need more social energy in this global climate action collaboration. And we have seen that culture is really transformative, energizing, positive, and that's the only way to get towards more action and impact. And there is an ecosystem in this field, and we want to bring with our side event today everybody together, and not only the creatives, but also the digital providers. Our efforts can be more effective if we amplify cultural activities with digital innovation, especially Web3 technology innovation and climate change coalition and digital innovation pavilion at the climate conferences are some flagship initiatives that we work with. And Christina, my colleague, will tell you more about our contest for music and art for co-creating the future. And with this, I finish and give back and wish everybody a very inspiring networking and landscape mapping, stakeholder mapping exercise at SB60. Thanks, everyone. All the best.
Thanks, Miroslav. Thanks for your continuous leadership with bringing people together on the topic of digital innovations. And indeed, we have a pretty broad topic today. So almost every aspect of digital innovations for sustainability. And without any further ado, I would like to highlight the format of today's side event. So we'll have speakers here. There's going to be 2 cohorts of speakers. I'm going to name the first cohort, and then we're going to have 5 to 7 minute intervention by each speaker. All of them answering just 2 simple questions. So first of all, just who they are and what's their organization doing. And the next question would be related to the concrete things they're doing to help us fight climate change, and why is this important for the climate change mitigation or adaptation. So we want to hear today concrete action, and why is this important for the for the global climate change fight. So now I'm gonna invite the first cohort of the speakers, and then we'll change and have the second cohort. And in between, we're going to have a few questions, I guess. So first of all, I'd like to invite Christina Stevens, that represents GloCha and Revolution Love. Let's clap. Okay, then Mahnaz Anwar Fancy, the UAE Ministry of Culture. Lisa Lang, Climate Kick. Sebastian Öhman, GIZ. And Samuel Rubin, UNFCCC, ECCA. Okay, so happy to have you, dear esteemed panelists. So I hope we all, got the format, and I'll try to be the first and show you how this should work. And I'll try to be really quick, and I'll also put my timer on. And when you will go over like 6 minutes, then I'll, give you a sign that. Play the music. Yeah, the violin. I'll play the violin. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just start. So my name is Alexey Shadrin. I'm CEO and founder of Evercity, and my company is focused on the development of digital innovation infrastructure for climate finance. Our mission is to make climate finance more accessible to the communities, cities, companies in developing countries. And to enable that, we focus on the origination of climate finance. So there is a very big knowledge gap in developing countries about climate finance. What are the different vehicles, how they should be used, and how to just get started with those climate financing instruments. So what we are doing is we're trying to make climate finance really simple, really understandable, with automation, with interfaces. So it's like a game. And let's say you have a project, somewhere, and you don't know anything about climate finance, and you come to our website and you start describing your project in simple words. And then the system helps you to understand which financing vehicle better fits your particular project. And then you start creating the documents according to those international standards. And the system helps you to create those documents automatically. So you don't have to know all these abbreviatures and all these, difficult things about finance. You just get the documents ready. And then you meet your partners that you need along the way. You meet, the auditors, you meet the project developers. And once you're done, once the project has already a set of documents, then you meet early stage investors, and you can use the power of blockchain to issue digital green assets, such as carbon forwards, for example, or green loans or green bonds, depending on the size and the category of the project. And then you meet those investors who are really looking for the labeled green assets. And so they can find you and they can invest in you. And then our system helps to also, provide monitoring and reporting, but we're not doing this ourselves. We are integrating other solutions, other tools that are out there. There are great initiatives, space, satellites, drones, IoT. There is peer-to-peer verification, where people from a village, they go to another village to check, whether something is being constructed, and they can get some additional income out of that. So we integrate that, and then we help to report. And our big idea here is that we are sharing this technology. Part of what we're doing is open source. And so when we're coming to a certain country or to a certain community, we want the community to own the technology and co-create with us. We know we are the tech experts, but the people from the community, from the country, they know their government better, they know their projects better, they know their legislation better. So we form some sort of a of a team together, and then we help each other to develop climate finance in a particular country or particular region. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing, and I think it's super important for the climate change, both mitigation and adaptation, because we are empowering local communities with the digital infrastructure. We're helping to create climate finance markets in those countries, in those communities. This also provides jobs, and by engaging the local actors into climate finance, we're helping more projects to pop up and more investments to flow into those projects. So the last statement that I would just highlight is, when you talk to investors, they always say there is money everywhere, there are not enough projects. And when you talk to projects, they're saying, where is the money? We didn't see it, So I think the role of technology here and our mission here is to become like a digital bridge or a digital translator. So we've all been dreaming of an AI translator that could help us, talk with anyone in the world with our own language. So we're trying to create such a translator, to accelerate finance, so that people who are financiers can talk with people who are not financiers and are doing their impactful projects on the ground. And that's why I think it's important. So I'll leave it there, and I think it's 5 minutes. So I would urge you to also to stick to 5 minutes. And again, if it's over 5 minutes, I'll give you a sign, and then it's one minute plus, because we have a lot of speakers and we have some audience, and I guess they'll be happy to have some questions. So let's maybe start with Christina.
Okay. My name is Christina Stevens. I have been working with Miro since Rio Plus 20, so that's about quite a few years ago. And we have been working on so many initiatives, especially with music and art, because culture is our little. Oh, I kind of project anyway. Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's scary now. Anyhow, we have been working on music and art for climate, digital art for climate, music contests. This year, actually, 2024, we're focusing on the Summit of the Future, and we have created a Create the Future, because here's the thing, the future We have no clue what the future looks like. We don't know what it feels like. We don't know what it smells like, what it sounds like. And it's up to us to, if we're going to create it, we've got to get out of the problems and move into the solutions and move into the visions. So we're reaching out to our visionaries all over the world, the artists, the creatives, the ones that actually do see the future, and they do see it, and have them show us what it looks like, so that everyone all our leaders who are out there negotiating their hearts out, doing their best to build something, to keep mankind and nature kind all together and surviving, we need to help them. They need our element. They need the cultural component, which will actually mobilize the millions and the billions in the world, because without them, it's just all words out there. It's just all talk, talk, talk into a very flat room. And I've been sitting in a lot of those flat rooms where there's no inspiration. I want to kind of feel like, is your spirit in it? Is your heart in it? Do you have a passion for the future? Because our children are going to need it. Anyway, so we have this contest this year, 2024, Create the Future. We will be launching it on July 1st. Submissions will be open, and we'll be giving the awards at the Summit of the Future on November 19th, televised live from the UN headquarters, from the Trusteeship Council chamber, which is my absolute most favorite room at the UN. Anyway, we will have the chamber all day from 10 to 6, and we'll be having an edutainment show. Don't know what it looks like just yet, but come and see. It will be very interesting. The other thing that I do, I'm building a platform called Revolution Love, and it's for civil society to engage everyone of all ages, to educate, to build awareness of what's going on in the world, everything from climate to wherever you want to be, poverty, education, all the things, life and water, based on sourced from the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And this is education, but also it's linking you. We're just sending you out. If you want to be an activist, we'll let you know where you go in your country, where they're all, how you can contact them, how you can become an activist. If you want to be an educator, whatever you want to do, we will help you find your passion and then go do it. Go do some little thing, just a little thing, because once civil society become engaged, once they learn a little bit about something, they get to know what they kind of can do, what they feel passionate about. And the minute they participate, they're on the road, they're moving forward. They find their friends, and their heart starts beating, and we start moving ahead together. So that's what I'm doing.
You have 2 more minutes.
Oh, I have 2 more minutes. Oh my God, then I'll start to sing for you. I will give over my 2 minutes, because I've been talking a lot this week. I'm losing my voice now.
Okay, thank you, Christina. And I really enjoyed your speech the other day and today as well. And I think you touched base on a very important point. In this regard, I would love to, give the floor to Mahnaz, because, COP was a very big, event, a trigger, right, for many, for UAE, for the GCC region, for the whole world. And by the way, congratulations on this recent success. So, maybe apart from the, the questions that we're having here, maybe you can also highlight, like whether something has really changed in the society, in the perception of those environmental challenges after COP. Was it really a trigger event for the whole community in UAE and the region?
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Sure, I think COP28 has had a huge effect in the UAE and how we live and do business and how we see the world. So just to put it very shortly, I'm cleverly using bits of another presentation. So I'm going to just read. I have a favorite quote I like to start my presentations about this with, and Back in 2015, in an interview, Christina Figueres, the executive director of the UNFCCC from 2009 to 2016, advocated for including culture in all discussions of climate change by saying there are many definitions of the term culture. One refers to the cumulative deposit of knowledge, experience, beliefs, values, attitudes, meanings, hierarchies, religion, notions of time, roles, spatial relations, concepts of the universe, and material objects and possessions acquired by a group of people in the course of generations through individual and group striving. In the context of climate change, this definition perhaps clarifies the extent that climate change impacts have in the sense that they are not primarily material. They cut much deeper. This means that a large element of addressing climate change translates into protecting people's cultures, their way of life, their heritage. There are many compelling reasons, such as poverty or health, for policymakers to act on climate change. But engaging with cultural heritage and things that people cherish, which could be lost due to climate change, is an equally compelling reason for communities to become involved in climate action. That was 2015, and slowly but surely, thanks to the efforts of incredible civil society organizations and artists and activists, culture, while it's still not formally recognized in climate change policy making, it is starting to creep in there. And we are seeing a growing evidence, even at this SP60, of a global conviction in the contribution of culture, heritage, and indigenous knowledge systems to climate action. And I'm just going to do a little timeline that I like to reference as well. So in 2020, the UNFCCC UNESCO Greek government initiative on climate change and protection of cultural heritage happened. In 2021, there was an international meeting on culture, heritage, and climate change, co-sponsored by the IPCC, ICOMOS, and UNESCO. In 2022, Climate Change 22 Impacts, Adaptation, and Vulnerability in IPCC's report showed increasing IPCC engagement with culture, heritage, social sciences with the valorization of diverse knowledge systems. Mondiacult 2022, the final declaration, called for the UN Secretary General to firmly anchor culture in the development agenda beyond 2030. And at COP27, there was a ministerial dialogue on cultural heritage-based climate solutions in Sharm el-Sheikh. 2023 is COP28, and I'm very privileged to work for an very spearheaded and Minister of Culture who decided that it was time to take the work that has been done by civil society and all of you and get the parties involved. And so on December 8th, during COP28, we had the first high-level ministerial dialogue on culture-based climate action and launched the Group of Friends of Culture-Based Climate Action at the UNFCCC, which is an informal coalition. And together we unanimously endorsed the Emirates Declaration, which commits to accelerating the recognition of culture-based climate action. And at the same time, in Dubai at COP28, the UAE Framework for Global Climate Resilience was adopted, inserting culture or cultural heritage as one of the 7 thematic targets to achieving the global goal on adaptation. We are at a really exciting moment here, 2024, and we have the strongest arguments yet for the role of culture, heritage, and indigenous knowledge systems in climate action. And it's up to us to figure out how to take it forward. There's a lot of effort, awareness raising, knowledge collection and production, and we look forward to continuing this conversation with all of you. Am I done with time?
Perfect time.
How about that? Thank you.
Whoa.
Okay, I'll guess it would be right to continue the culture discussion and maybe go a little bit into entertainment. So I want to give the floor to Samuel Rubin.
Thank you so much for coming here. I hope everyone is feeling well in the lead up to the end of these SBs and that you have been having productive conversations. I think today's goal is to understand better what everyone is doing and have a roadmap for collaboration. Today, actually, I've been hearing a lot the word radical collaboration, no? Which is a good concept that I would like to start my intervention with, because I think that radical collaboration requires breaking silos and creating systems of reciprocity rather than scarcity. And I think that was definitely the direction that we went towards at UAE, at COP28, and why the developments in the last year have been so important to foster the culture-based climate action movement. In my case, my name is Samuel Rubin, and I'm part of a sectoral initiative led by the UNFCCC called Entertainment and Culture for Climate Accord, actually Action, so many acronyms, ECCA. And so this sectoral initiative is part of the Marrakech Partnership, which is the non-party stakeholders umbrella that also includes the high-level champion, the Race to Zero, the Race to Resilience, and other sectoral initiatives include Fashion Charter, Force for Climate Action. ECCA now is en route to consolidation and to becoming implemented, and we still need a lot of support and momentum to make that happen, which is why the leadership of parties on this issue is extremely important. But also we need infrastructure and we need a framework. No? So that's why over the last 3 years, we've been consulting with many different stakeholders in the creative industries, people who have been doing this work for many, many years, many of whom you will hear from today, who are also in this table. And the goal is to understand how do we create a framework that rather than exclude anyone or put the bar too high, makes it easy for the industry stakeholders to do the work they need to do with the tools and the implementation support that they need. And to do that, we absolutely need to accept that not everyone can follow the same pathways. Not everyone has the same resources. There is global equity principles in mind. There is resources allocation in mind. And that's why ECCA alone or initiative within the UNFCCC alone will not be enough to support the sector. The sector needs to be also leading these processes. And that's why last year at COP28, we had for the first time a dedicated space inside of the Blue Zone called the Entertainment and Culture Pavilion, which was the first space inside of the Blue Zone dedicated to the creative industries. And we had an amazing lineup of programming, 126 events throughout the 12 days of the conference. We were one of the most well-attended pavilions of the Blue Zone with more than 4,500 individuals. And I think that shows the momentum towards entertainment and culture to play an active role in the climate agenda. Because despite that momentum and despite the attention towards what role can culture play, we still have, like this report says, a culture gap. In the global stocktake, which was historic for many reasons, including the transition to fossil fuels, we did not include culture in the final text, despite the unprecedented mobilization of more than 30 ministers who were present for that same purpose. And I think a good example is to compare it with technology. No? Like technology, for example, is mentioned on the global stocktake more than 30 times. And that is also thanks to, for example, the work that many coalitions like the Innovation Hub or the Digital Innovation Pavilion have been spearheading. So I think today's event is about learning from each other, understanding how can we create systems of mutual support, both on the party and non-party side, and also understanding how do we provide a platform and a vehicle for the industry to play an active role, not just to be a decorative ornament, like you say, but an active player, because there is a lot of work to do in regards to implementation. And we also have a much bigger footprint as a creative industry than most of people realize. For example, quick fun fact, one movie like Avatar or Star Wars or your favorite blockbuster, according to Albert, equals to 13 trips to the moon in equivalence to carbon footprint. And we are an industry of more than 50 million workers, $1 trillion in revenue. Fashion is close to 6 to 10% of the global footprint, and still yet we do not have a roadmap for how are we going to decarbonize the creative economy. So I hope that this side event will ignite the type of conversations beyond the SB so that we can come to Baku again this year for our second pavilion with more tools for implementation. Thank you.
Okay, we'll have a hybrid format now, and we have also two secret online speakers that, and I want to invite especially one speaker regarding the topic of art, since we're moving now through culture into art. And to finalize on this topic, I'll invite Maria Paula Fidalgo, who is a famous Brazilian artist. She will join us online.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be in such great company. I am really thrilled to join my talent and my voice with you, amazing people. I was very touched about Christina's talk when she said that we must create the future. So yeah, that's exactly what I am, accomplished, trained to do. I have been working for the last 30 years as an actress in Brazil. I have a very big audience, and I'm a comic actress. So the way that I approach into touching the public's heart is by humor, by laughs and entertaining people with nice ideas, and even touching the most difficult points in a way that we are not going to scare people to action, but we are going to inspire people to action. I am Peace Ambassador of Brazil, and I have been working with a number of different amazing organizations. We have been doing concerts and gatherings and all kinds of beautiful entertainment, joining concerts, shows, movies, theater. My next movie, which I am not only an actress, but also one of the writers. I write as well. So I wrote this script about greenwash. And this is my next movie that it's going to be launched soon. And we approach the theme in a very, funny way, that we don't just go into the blame game, but we approach the way that we can help people that are doing greenwash, like companies that are using this content as a marketing, very powerful marketing for themselves without actually doing it. So we're approaching it as maybe that could be just the first step of these companies so that they can really engage into the real deal. So in this movie, it's this company and they sell this product, and it's a cream that you can put in your face. It's so green that you can even eat the cream. You can eat even the box, the emballage. So, we're making fun of these people, that they can, in a nutshell, the script is there's this group like a Greenpeace, but it's a Brazilian one called the Blue Parrots. And they give the company CEO and CAOs they give them stuffed animals, their parrots, with cameras in their eyes. And so these people take it to their offices and they start, recording everything that is going on there. And it goes online, viralized, and the whole world gets to notice that they are not really doing the right stuff. They're just using it as marketing. So it becomes a big, big issue. And the CEO is invited to go on a TV show at this movie. I am the one who is the host of the TV show, and we help these people. We re-educate them into this subject. So at the end, the company gets really to do a green approach. So it's more or less like that. I'm very honored to be part of this group, and yeah, let's create better futures together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria. That was a wonderful intervention. And with this, I want to give floor to Lisa Lang from Climate Kick.
Hello. Wow. Okay. Lots of puzzle pieces in the room, and I hope I can contribute another one. So I work for EIT Climate Kick. So EIT is the European Institute for Technology and Innovation. We are basically the implementation agency for the European Commission on several topics. In our case, it's Climate Kick. We are one of the most senior kicks. We are a team of 290 people, and we are there to build the bridge. So, we were in climate change before it was cool, pun intended. And as the word EIT already says, is like these systems were built without arts and culture in mind. It was everything about technology, about innovation and policy. But the reason was also is because it was never, arts and culture was never acknowledged as an industry or an ecosystem. And that actually on European level happened officially for the first time in 2019. So 2015, then something happened over here. That, however, took at least 15 years, because that's what happens when you have democracy. In 27, we were 28 partners. Sometimes it feels like a children's birthday party gone wrong. Everybody has complaints. But that was like the big move. That like, okay, so the first bit was, it was made visible. But then what happened is like we had from the one side, from the policymakers, what we are supposed to do with these artists. Because it was like, okay, so yeah, you have to like deal with them. And like, yeah, but how? Like, so there is a whole system of like, how to support industries. And it really didn't like fit with arts and culture. Besides also the European definition of arts and culture, it's 11 tiers. It's from gaming to industry design, from publishing to music, to fashion. So basically like all of those people which we haven't been able to fit anywhere, we all put them in one bucket. And then we were like, yeah, and then we had like within the arts culture, we were like, yeah, but like art is not an industry. Art is free. So it was kind of like, almost sometimes felt set up for failure, but we had something. So now we are in the process of what you do when something new appears, retrofitting. So we're using the current systems and program, and we are just adding it in. On the one thing is, for instance, so there's something called Horizon. It's just like the biggest research program in the world. And for everyone who knows EU funding, so usually, you have to make sure that you have like Eastern European countries in there to get funding, because we try to support the ones who need extra support. It is actually now by policy, like if it doesn't matter in which industry, in which Horizon program, if you bring one element of culture into the application, you get higher ranked. The other bit trickle-down effect, actually what happened is that EIT launched a new KIC, a new knowledge innovation community for culture and creativity. So this is the European Innovation Agency for Arts and Culture. And it has been an establishment for 3 years, because we actually found out is that the way how a institution for innovation and technology is measuring startups and scalability doesn't really fit with arts and culture. For instance, you might know the term SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprises, and that is the backbone, the economical backbone of Europe. But if you go into the culture sector, there is actually an S before the small. It's solo and single. So all of a sudden we got thrown into this where we even can't be visible so that means that the current system you can't apply as a single artist into the Ryzen program, which was fit for SMEs. So I'm in policy. I run the policy department. I have an art background and a software engineering background, and then I ended up in policy. I have a lot of arts degree, a lot of university degrees, not the one I work for. So there's hope. So the approach has to be differently now. On the one side, it's like being okay with that you're getting retrofitted and just go and stay in the room. Like know the terminology. And what we did with Climate Kick, because like our wonderful boss, Kirsten Damlaund, and myself, we have an art background and we ended up in policy and climate change. So we were like, what could we possibly do? Like we want to bring them in, we're like, hang on a minute, we are sitting in all of these rooms where they haven't had arts and culture, acknowledged. So how about we just open the windows and the back doors and like whatever we can open and bring them in. So in COP27, we actually for the first time, because we're in the co-secretariat of the United Nations Innovation Hub, which was established at COP26, it had the mission to identify concrete solutions. Where are the solutions and how can we enable them? So we took that call and said, arts and culture. So in COP27, we placed arts and culture topics. That's how we know Miroslav, for instance, because they were there, and just like we started to invite each other to the party, and we started to talk about digital arts, and we especially started to talk about fashion. And here is the next fish, what comes in. We have to make very sure that this topic doesn't get tokenized, because on the one side, arts and culture is fantastic to change people's hearts and mind. Be aware of your power. In climate change, they are desperate because we are not fast enough. We threw so much money, technology, and policy at it, and people don't change. So they're so desperate now that they're even prepared to deal with artists. Because like we have tried everything before. But at the same time, also this industry represents an atrocious amount of footprint, and fashion is one of them. It has been very much in the interest of fashion to be not recognized. So there is an awakening now happening with you can't hide. On the EU level, there is a whole immense amount of human rights and sustainability policies implemented now, which apply to all industries. But the industries who are little prepared and who never have been recognized and hence not have been recognized and regulated are now like bubbling up on the surface like, oh, this is really bad. So there is a whole wave now happening. In the meantime, we said like, okay, so while we are still trying to figure it out, we actually that just happened today is like, we just started to invite arts and culture institutions into our working group. And then voila, last year at COP, while we are at the United Nations Innovation Pavilion and started to talk about more and more fashion, we were like, there's a culture pavilion. Nobody told us about that, right? So we simply like just walked over and said, hi, Sam. So, and here, voila, Sam and Miroslav now just invited us back. This is very fragmented. This is very early. Retrofit, jump in the room because you have a right to be in the room and stay in the room. At the moment where they try to block and frustrate you, that means you're bothering them. The best way how to do that is participate in the change and be a solution. That means you need to be aware where you go in, but also be okay with that you're different and celebrate that. You're not the bug, you're the feature. And I used your 2 minutes. Thank you very much.
That was an amazing and very passionate speech. Thank you, Lisa. And I guess now we'll start transferring to the tech innovation topic. And Sebastian, I guess what's kind of help us start it.
Yeah, and thank you for the very passionate ending, especially. I think for me it would be like kind of difficult now with the starting point, but in general, I think I would just like to start with a short introduction of myself. My name is Sebastian. I'm part of GIZ and the Data Economy Initiative. So my point of view here in this discussion is really on the topic of development cooperation and digitalization in the concrete context of climate action. So maybe just as a starting point, we as GIZ and Data Economy also working right now in a so-called Team Europe initiative. So we also teamed up with 4 other European countries and implementation agencies to align on different topics in the area of climate change and in the area of development cooperation to really streamline this process, make any kind of effort more effective. And so the Team Europe initiative is also called the Data Governance in Africa. And its objective in general is really to support a human-centric data economy. I think I will be as concrete as I can here. The initiative itself is really working on 3 pillars. The first is data policy. The second is data value creation. And this is also the part where our initiative and specifically my role would come in, data value creation and concrete data use cases. Well, in this presentation and also in general, I'd just like to showcase a few approaches that we are engaging in right now to be as concrete as possible. And the third aspect and pillar of this is the data infrastructure and how can we then finance actually, for example, green data centers. And we do this, for example, through a so-called digital investment facility. But then how do we actually work? And so maybe as a starting point, GIZ itself, the headquarters is just around the corner. And thank you so much for the spontaneous invitation. But we work in a global team where also in the concrete context of Africa, we have so-called 3 regional hubs. So we have colleagues in Senegal, in Kenya, and in South Africa who are supporting us really with the concrete implementation in our partner countries and also engaging with the different partners there on the ground. And this could be then on the one side, environmental ministries, NGOs, civil society, and so on and so forth. And so inside data economy, some of the approaches I would like to showcase here, maybe on the next slide, are actually 3. So the first one would be a climate platform that's really support NDC monitoring and monitoring of climate finance. The second one would be a methodology paper on a blockchain-based carbon market mechanism. And the third one is also in relation to a community-driven approach, a climate data collection and mapping solution to turn really information from civil society into concrete climate action. And so the first approach I like to just quickly showcase today is this climate data information platform. In its core, generally, it's really about, or let's put it from a perspective of really that we envisioned or had different engagement with partners such as environmental ministry. And what we found out is that there's a lot of climate data out there. There's a lot of really valuable information. But most or a big difficulty is actually how can we bring this together? And so what we are working on is building out a data platform, which is really about interlinking existing climate data, as climate data is oftentimes just in data silos or even not digitized. So this platform is really about bringing together most important climate data that then, for example, governments can use to report their NDCs to UNFCCC and so on and so forth. The second approach I would like to showcase is then in relation to carbon markets. And here we assessed in general on the one side, what are the existing carbon markets internationally and on the global level? And then how can digital technologies, for example, blockchain, boost this efforts in relation to accountability and transparency? Oh, and then last but not least, the approach that is happening in Kenya right now, where it's really about a open, like a crowdsourcing platform where people in Kenya can actually report information on climate disaster. So governments can utilize this, map this out, where's, for example, flooding happening in the Tana River district in Kenya. And so this can really enable communities to the government level to really create impactful solutions. Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm sorry for the taking over the time.
Thanks so much. That was super interesting. And let's applaud to our first cohort of speakers. It was a brilliant conversation. Thank you so much. And I would love to invite our second cohort. So Mr. Kadir Gungor. Kenza Ben Musa. Yeah, also Alison Tickle. And Salome Aloh. Is it? Yeah. Daniel, yeah, please come over. Okay, yeah, sorry. And sorry. Yeah, Avid Kumar. Great. So we don't have too much time. So I'll ask the speakers to maybe try to stick to 4 minutes and 1 extra minute. So overall 5 minutes. We have to do it, sorry. And we'll start with Kenza. Please introduce yourself, organization, and what are you doing? Why is it important for climate change?
Thank you, Alex, and hello, everyone. Arius, I hope you are still with us. I know it has been a little bit long, but as Miro has been saying, he wanted this event to be as a networking event, so we can all learn about each other's and the work that we all make, because actually the diversity here, as we saw in the first panel, was very impressive. And it's showcasing a lot. So all of us, we are like in the ocean, and each one of us is a drop in this ocean. So all together, we can really make this, we can combat the climate change. Yeah, we've been talking about art, technology, finance, and I took some specific quotes from the first speakers, as Lisa, when she was saying, participate in the change and be the solution. Or also another speaker who was talking about the radical collaboration. So this means that to address the climate change, we need multiple solutions. We need the intersections of digital, of education, of art, of everything to be able to maintain this change. So, so by integrating all these elements, we can create the empowerment of our society. And I know we've been talking a lot, so I just want to end up with one question. So maybe we can think about it, which is, how can we make those digital tools helping us raising awareness and educating in our environment? And for this, I want just quickly to share one of what I'm doing, which is gamification to combat climate change for the private sector. So we've been talking a lot about the eco-anxiety, and sometimes if we go to the rooms of negotiations, we think that it's something very complex and we cannot as individual do something, but actually we can do something. So first, we need to be aware about our carbon footprint. And by this, so there are many innovative tools as gamification. So, and as challenges, as individual, we can have some daily challenges to integrate in our daily life to be able to first start the change ourselves. Then we can ask others to be the change as well. So I will hand that to another speaker.
Okay, thank you so much. So, Kadir, would you be so kind to say a few words?
So my name is Kadir. I come from three-generation family business in Turkey. But now I manage an impact fund, which is investing in sustainable development goals. I'm based in Dubai now. So we come from a very traditional business background, but just because we think how technology and digital innovation can help us tackle the issues within the SDGs and climate action, therefore we found an impact fund, and we identified focus first on human, and then after that, how we can actually, when we focus on human and then problem, and then how actually can we turn these things to profitable business models. So we didn't start how we can invest in financially good returnable carbon, this and that. So we focus on problems, human problems, and then profit. So this makes you think a lot. For example, I would like to speak in a practical way. So you can generate carbon credits from A, B, C sources. But what we've done through our marketplace platform, carbon credit marketplace platform. So it's one of our portfolio, and it's Earthshot candidate for this year. So what we've done is we plan to generate these carbon credits from coal to solar transformation projects, which impact the human first, because still the significant number of people, they don't have access to energy, water, basic human needs, So we transfer them from the coal burning to a solar through the help of blockchain and IoT device that we designed. So now, not only, okay, you can have an impact on create carbon credits on forestation, but if those for human, let's help the human first, So if you don't have an access to the basic needs, you don't dream else, you try to solve your basic needs. So now the most polluting ones are financing those transformations, through getting those credits. And you through the digital innovation, you helped the people who doesn't even have access to energy, or So just like these models, we are investing in technology, and we also, as a family business and a fund created through that, helping other such businesses to invest in those. We just change our way, and also help others change their way, so we can combine the effort and reach to the wider society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kadir. And I'd like to give the floor to Alison Tico from Julie's Bicycle.
Technology. There you go. It's great to be in a room with such a cross section, and I'm really glad that I've got somebody who's dealing in finance here, somebody who's dealing with digital here, because of course this is the intersection. My name's Alison Tickell. I'm the founder of Julie's Bicycle. We've been working at the intersection of climate, arts and culture since 2007. So I feel like Lisa called me a veteran yesterday. I couldn't decide whether to laugh or cry, but I'll live with it. But we've been working really to capacity build the arts and culture internationally so that actually we can meet this moment. And I include in that word culture, I just want to define it. It's heritage. Naz has done some wonderful work in this space. It is art, that sensuality, that capacity to feel the world in a different way. And of course, it's the creative industries that have driven so much of our consumerist culture, continue to do so, and are so much part of a positive solution. We really do need to bring culture into the heart of this project. In 2000 and for COP26 in 2021, Julie's Bicycle did some research. There is one cultural policy in the world that aligns to the Paris Climate Agreement. That is really, really serious. Because until we map the work that we are doing, both in terms of the social sphere and in terms of the impact sphere, the material impact sphere, we will not make this work. And if we put this into the heart of climate policy in 1990, in 1992, at the very least in 2015, we would be in a very different place now. Of that, I am absolutely convinced. So the job now is to valorize culture. It is to come to a place of common understanding where we understand the language, where we capacity build ourselves to take on the leadership that asks the difficult questions about which economies have the right to grow. How do we map climate justice and a just transition through the cultural and creative tools that we have so much in abundance? And just the last thing I'm going to say is that we have been looking every year at the creative climate movement. It's everywhere. It is manifesting everywhere. It is a beautifully thriving ecosystem that exists all over the world. We lack glue. And this is the moment at which we really do need to coalesce. We talk about radical collaboration. How radical can we get? Because we need it. And without it, we just will not make this moment. So if anybody out there is involved in culture and the arts, in finance, in digital, we just need to come together and work really differently and scale this capacity as fast as we possibly can. Thank you.
I'm really inspired by our panel. And we have 2 speakers to go. So Avid, your turn.
Thank you, Alexey. I'm still having goosebumps from the line of speakers and their comments that they made. So I'm a climate scientist, but my role in the UNFCCC platforms is representing the long game. So that's an ecosystem for capacity building through education and gamification, digital technology, obviously. I think the thing we haven't discussed yet so far, so the next COP is supposed to be the finance COP. So the obvious question is, what are you going to be financing? So let me tell you a story to answer that, at least to give you my answer. So my team that is working in Bangladesh now just told me the story. So the cyclone Rimal has just hit the southern coast of Bangladesh, and there is a small village in Shatkhira, and something tremendous happened there. So a girl, she's called Fatima. She is 14 years old. And it was just after the first round of tidal surge kind of hit in, some families got blocked there. They couldn't escape. And this girl was was about to escape, managed, but she heard others crying. So kids are crying, and she just felt that it's a responsibility to help them, to rescue them. So what she found nearby, that there was just I don't know, it's just an extended version of knife. And some ropes there. So she just chopped off some banana planks and made a raft out of it. It's very easy. And she saved 45 lives. So if you ask me, what are you going to be financing? I'm not sure the ones who are in the decision making, if they ever saved a life. But if you ask me, what are you going to be financing? I think we should be financing making more Fatimas around the world, because that freaking saved lives. And where is digital technology? Where is innovation? Where is gamification coming into play? We had our team, and while I was thinking, I was on top of my head, I had this brilliant idea. We should immediately host a game, a competition of making rafts out of banana planks. who can make it faster, because that's the skill you need in this moment. And that's the skill that connects to culture, where you know how to harness the power of your culture. And also digital technology can connect those cultures, make this rippling effect. We always talk about scaling up. Scaling up is not important. What is important is scaling out. How can communities can learn from each other, can cherish their cultural values they have. So I think we are at a really turning point here. We are about to face a genocide, I would say. We are at a climate war, if not a crisis. And I think all this expertise we are sharing on this board, from the ministry to the digital experts to artists, and thanks Christina, by the way, that's a tremendous effort of creating this competition. I think we need to hold hands now. And if you wanna see a future for ourselves and for our kids and for our grandkids, we really need to hold hands and move forward together. Thank you.
Thanks, Avid. So we have the last but not the least speaker for today, but please kindly ask you to keep it short, Daniel.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, and lovely to meet you all, and thanks so much for the opportunity to be on this panel today. So alarmingly, 200 gigatons left before we go over a carbon budget, and maybe we're doing 50 a year, so 4 years to sort this out, and we're still fiddling around with solutions. My background is I co-coined the term carbon neutral in 1988. The first person to ever buy any carbon was Maureen, who ran the Castle Kerry pet shop. When I was buying some dog food, it was called carbon sequestration, and that was like taking somebody to a dentist. My girlfriend said, well, actually, you've neutralized our carbon. So that's how it came about. Lord Nick Stone opened the Doha COP celebrating that and see if there was a previous. So I've been around this area for a long time. I've been an advisor at Downing Street. I've addressed the UN. I have a paper published on carbon finance by the US Bar Council. I'm part of an investment committee where we fund female founders in climate and health, looking for ethnically diverse groups. I've also acted as an advisor to IOSIS on adaptation and mitigation. So been around this for a while. I founded probably what is the 800-pound gorilla of the carbon market, which is the world's biggest. However, we fell out because I'm a biodiversity creator. They're a carbon trader. There's terrible problems with carbon trading and carbon neutral and offset. So now we have a new beginning. I'm interested in art, digital art. I'm an artist, but digital art and how it interacts with the environment and with people and how to build community. So I have a peer-reviewed paper that I'm a co-author in called Balance. Professor Felix Dodds, one of the co-authors, one of the architects of the UN Sustainability Goals, and James Cameron, a barrister, early draft of Kyoto, and myself, we've come up with a methodology, not a standard, with 6 points that take carbon credits, bad, don't work, turn them into balance units that actually do work. And I can go on about that, but it will take too long. The main point, however, is CO2's lifetime in the atmosphere is 50 years up, 50 years down. It's the radiative forcing cycle is 100 years. The existing standard on carbon credits globally is only 40 years. So they don't even make the half-life. So we have a scientific peer-reviewed methodology that it doesn't work. Balanced units have a 100-year protection, indigenous species trees, reporting, human rights, additionality addressed, and force majeure. I'll go into all those details. But we also marry the planting of the distant carbon to a sister tree near you. So you've got something visceral and real. So what we're interested in doing is reforming, saying carbon neutral offset, that didn't work. Balance does, a new way of doing it, resolving the piddly tiny, excuse my French, the tiny little carbon market that was at $2 billion 2 years ago that just dropped 1.1 billion to 900 million because of all the things with Vera and South Pole, and the people don't trust it. To make something CMO, Chief Marketing Officer safe, that can go up to trillions, getting money to do 3 things, not one. So it's not carbon offset. What you're doing is you're becoming balanced to create biodiversity. And you're also bringing pro-social economic growth to indigenous communities with beekeeping, permaculture, water catchment enhancements. There's income and biochar, so there's income from the projects. And it addresses a quantifiable tonnage of carbon. So that's the balance backdrop. And then the social engagement using popular culture as an art form, as a digital art form, is we have an app. And we have a test band, a space punk test band at the moment that's working really well. You pay to get your voice into the gig with the app. After the show, you've got a track back you're mixed in. You get a digital footprint, a sonic footprint of your voice, and the money you pay goes to plant trees. So you're singing trees to life. Most people are trying to make the digital, this world, the real world, digital. So we're doing it the other way around. We're making the digital world real. Your voice becomes a tree. And how that can interact with popular culture is becoming evident, and the support that we're getting and how this can become an art project. So the audience becomes a digital artist, they're engaged with it, and they're doing something proactive. Seneca, the antidote to anxiety is action. So let's get together, hold together, and everybody collaborate with ideas. And this is what I'm bringing to the table. Thank you.
Well, that's been an amazing session. And before we conclude, I would like to open the floor to the audience. So maybe you have some quick quotes or quick questions to the speakers of the first and the second cohort. You're welcome. Okay. Then I would like to thank again our audience and our panelists. I think you're all heroes, climate heroes. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be here and to hear all of the perspectives. And I want to thank you that you stick to the format so we could accommodate a lot of speakers today. It was not easy, and also that you stick to the concrete use cases and the wonderful things that you're all doing from all those various perspectives. Now I have so many thoughts, and since we're having something like a very concrete mission here, a very concrete format, I want to announce the continuation of the Digital Innovation Pavilion. So at COP in Dubai, we had a 50 square meter pavilion where we had a 2-week program. We accommodated more than 150 speakers, and we had around 60 events, and they were touch basing all of the topics we discussed today. So hopefully we'll get the next pavilion approved. And I want to extend a warm invitation to all of you to take part in the pavilion, contribute with your ideas, and more importantly, with the concrete things and concrete projects you're doing. So this is, I guess, something that Miroslav would also want. And, let's stay in touch. As soon as the pavilion is there, would like to discuss with all of you, how we can better showcase your project and what else can we do together, because I think it's a great, platform, and I really enjoyed the conversation today. Thanks a lot. So Miroslav, you want to say a few concluding words?
I would just like to extend my gratitude to all the panelists, but especially also to you, Alexey. You have done an excellent moderation. We are happy and proud to having such great partners. And onwards and upwards, together we are strong. Let's really use culture, music, arts, cinema, everything to build the movement for more effective and more bold climate action. Thanks, and all the best to everyone.
Thank you so much, Miroslav. And I want to also extend gratitude to Kenza, who really helped a lot to organize this event. So thanks to all of you. Thanks, Miroslav, Kenza, everyone. Great job. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.